Have you ever wanted to change? Have you ever wanted to change something in a positive direction? Say, for example, you would like to, this week is the London Marathon, and for a lot of people, they've been working towards getting across that line, and it means quite a lot to them. So it may be a change from sitting on your couch, or it may be a change from running a 5K to a 10K to a bigger change. Change can also be avoiding a negative. So it might be a lot of people who have been suffering anxiety for a number of months, maybe longer. And we're looking to see how you can change. Today, we're going to talk about using a tool called biofeedback. I'm going to explain what is biofeedback, why it's important, and perhaps more importantly than all of that is how you can use it in a very easy and practical setting. When we talk about change, we talk about change in three possible ways. One is in which you're trying to change your thoughts, your thinking. You're trying to change the logical part of who we are, how you make decisions perhaps. You're trying to capture thoughts, and you're trying to perhaps avoid thinking certain things. The other change that people look at is changing how you feel. That I'm feeling anxious at the moment, I'm feeling nervous, I'm feeling happy, I'm feeling sad. Whatever it is, you're thinking, well, I'd like to have some sort of control over it because perhaps you don't like the way you feel. Perhaps you want to be more positive instead of being negative. Perhaps it's about avoiding depression. So it's change in terms of feelings. The other piece in terms of change is realizing that instead of using a thinking or feeling approach, there is something that's going on inside of us all the time. That's our physiology. By physiology, I mean the things that are going on under the hood of the bonnet of a car, for example. That you just sit in a car and you just press the steering, you press the accelerator, you don't press the steering. You press the accelerator, you press the brake, and the car seems to move by itself. And we have, if you're like me, no idea what's going on underneath the bonnet. In the same way, we have a heart that's constantly going. We have lungs that are constantly going. We have a blood pressure that sometimes we measure, but most times we have no idea what it's doing. Whether it's 120/80, whether it's a really low 70/50, by which time you actually might be feeling a little dizzy, or it might be that it's rising above 220/120, and suddenly you're thinking, oh, I've got a migraine, or my eyes are starting to hurt, or the effects of your physiology only become apparent when it's at one extreme or the other. Biofeedback works in this way. Biofeedback allows us to visualize or see what's going on underneath the bonnet. The biofeedback techniques that we use or can be used allow us to not only see what's going on, but to gain some level of control, to gain some level of change. And as we change more and more and more, then you get that sense of, wow, something is happening. And what's so important about all human beings is that if you try to do something, we all want to know we're getting a result. What biofeedback techniques allow is that sense of getting results. I can see something. I can measure something. What I am measuring, I am changing. What I'm measuring now compared to yesterday, I can see a change. That's why some of us don't hold on for long enough to trying to achieve something. It comes down to the way our brains are wired. So when we see a change, when you're trying to let's say you're trying to study for a maths exam, and you go, wow, yeah, 75, 80, and you get this rush of dopamine, you feel this wow. So the feeling comes after a positive result. The problem we have for long-term change is that we don't often see the result as we're moving along. So let's say you're trying to lose weight, and I say to you, fantastic, I'm glad you're trying to lose weight. And you say, yeah, but I don't see any change, because last week I was 100 kilos. Today I'm 99 kilos, and it doesn't look like, and it doesn't feel like, and it doesn't encourage you. Or sometimes you hit this plateau, again in terms of weight loss, where people say you're building muscle, and as you build muscle, you might actually get heavier. And so you can't see a physical change happening in terms of your weight. So you have to look in a different direction to see another change that is positive, but is not related to the scales. What biofeedback does in today's world is it allows that change to be seen. We are going to look at specifically biofeedback in terms of different techniques where breathing is involved. We're looking at techniques in which we're using monitors. There are so many apps that you can find nowadays that can record changes, that actually allow you to visualize the changes you're going along. There is neurofeedback. There is neurotherapy that allows these things to be seen in terms of what's going on inside your brain. Biofeedback works, and the reason it works is something I am very, very glad of. And that idea that I used to have, or that we all used to have, is, as you get older, you think nothing changes. Well, now we're realizing that your brain actually does change. We're now using magnetic resonance imaging techniques to look inside your brain, and you can see physical change. You can see that new connections are being formed. You can see almost new cells that are being formed. Perhaps not daily, not fast enough for me, but hey, you can see change. It's called neuroplasticity. Because unless we know it is possible to change, we will not try. And I am guaranteeing us all that it is possible. It is possible to change. And using biofeedback, it is now possible to see and to track those changes. So trying a very simple exercise. I'm going to suggest that you sit comfortably and you inhale. And as you inhale, I want you to count slowly 5 to 5. So you go 5 and go out. 5. Breathing in and out slowly and regularly. And you repeat that for another couple of cycles. In through your nose to 5, out through your nose to 5. And if you have someone in the room with you, you might be able to say, hey, can you see any difference in me? And they might say, yeah, you look a bit more relaxed. You look a bit more calm. maybe your face isn't screwed up, or your muscles, they don't look as tense. And you look down on your hand and you think, they're not as sweaty as they were. All of these things, these signs, are signs associated with our physiology. You can put your hand on your chest. You know, after breathing in and out for a little while, my heart rate is slower. And these simple but effective techniques are giving you some feedback. It is saying something's working. It is a positive sign of something working. This is important because it gives you the sense of control. I am in control. I have some control of what's going on. So as you practice whatever techniques there are, and there are many techniques that involve breathing or movement, that the feeling of control, the feeling of seeing, or rather the knowledge of knowing that you are seeing a change, is so encouraging. It is so positive. What can you measure? Well, we can measure our heart rate. Say we can put what looks like a pulse oximeter or something that measures blood flow, and it'll give you a pattern of how your heart is beating. We'll look at that later on at another episode on heart rate variability. You can also measure brain activity. So you see it in older movies where you put what looks like a skull cap on and all of these different electrodes going around, and you can measure your brain activity. Neurofeedback is that technique. And people have used that now to help focus, to keep focused on things, to reduce brain fog, to reduce anxiety, to bring clarity. In some centers, they've almost used it for things that we would not dream to be possible now. So it's looked at using it with children who have had ADHD type problems, or is used in situations where there's extreme nervousness or depression, and there is some positive results. The thing about all of these is that the change can happen and we are then aware of what's going on. And a big part of a lot of things that we see in ourselves is that the greater the awareness of where we are in terms of our physical, our muscles, are they tense? Our hands, are they sweaty? Are they dry? Our temperature even. Am I feeling cold? Am I feeling hot? These things are signs of what's going on inside, and they do have a link to your feelings. They do have a link to the way you think. And by gaining that awareness, firstly, and secondly, seeing that whatever we're doing, something is happening, a result is happening, that gives you a really powerful feeling of change. Visualization is another tool that we can use that gives you biofeedback. The ability to visualize something that is you're looking forward to, the ability to visualize something that you're thinking it can make you sad or it can make you happy. A lot of the times we don't realize that that's what's going on. That as we imagine, because that's what we're doing, you're bringing the future into your present, and it looks rosy. You start to smile, you start to bring up all the good hormones inside yourself, and you are creating a virtuous circle. In the same way, depression and anxiety, which is based on past events, that have happened that now trigger possible futures, we are changing our physiology, we're changing our feeling, our shoulders slump, our eyes look down, everything feels heavy. So biofeedback happens, it happens without us controlling it. But we can take control of that feedback that we're getting. We can take control of what's going on in our bodies and then use it in a positive direction. So in the next episode, we're going to look at specifically heart rate variability. We're going to look at things that involve some technology. So heart rate variability, apps that exist out there where we're using virtual reality or augmented reality to give us that ability to control and to move the feedback that we want in a particular direction. If you would like to see more of what Momentum Life Choices is about and want to see what we do in the future, please click that subscribe button.